Hi, we have a new release of Steelray Project Analyzer, and parts of this release will look a little different, so I would just like to highlight some of those changes in this video. I'm going to start by jumping right into the Criteria Manager. And I just want to point out, first of all, that we have this branch Steelray, this parent branch over our different categories for the Steelray criteria. I'll just click on missing predecessors and let's walk through this one. First, you can see it's got a padlock next to the name. This is reminding you that this check comes from the Steelray library. Our library of schedule checks, you're not going to be able to change the name or the description or how it's scored or the coach content. Those are all fixed for the Steelray library schedule checks. But you still can change how the grading is applied. You can add prerequisites. You can change how it's weighted for a global scorecard. And you can also modify justification for a criteria. But just to reiterate, you cannot change the name, description, the scoring, or the coach. Some of our criteria do have settings associated with them. Let's look at one of those. This is not a new feature, but I do just want to point it out. If we were to look at the predecessor count check, this is one where we can click on the settings button and the default will be to find tasks with more than 3 predecessors. We can change this to be more than 4 or less than 4, or as you can see, there are many different options, and that's all from the settings button. I'll just cancel out of that. Now, let's say I did want to change the description name, the criteria name. Well, in order to do that, I'm just going to make a copy. And then there's a second version of this check, but now it's under my user branch. And in this one, I do have full control. I can change the name, the coach content, the description, the way that it's graded. Let's just say that I wanted a more descriptive title for this so that when it shows up on my scorecard, I can see that information right in the title. I can also add that to the description here. Let's do that. And then over on the Coach tab, I'm going to tell this to use custom content. I will stub it in, though, with existing information. The what is this information? I'll just copy and paste. And for the formula, I'll also copy that. So now, let me add this check to a scorecard so you can see that those changes are applied. Over on this scorecard, I will select, I can just drag this over actually, and I can also drag to reorder this. So I'll pull this new check up to the top and run my analysis, which is pretty quick. Runs through in just a few seconds and produces my report. And here you can see the new one that I added. If I click on the whistle, let's look at the formula where it's easy to discern the change that I made. So back to the criteria manager, there are other ways besides making a copy to add criteria to your user branch. And one of those ways is simply creating a new criteria. A new criterion will be added, and this one does not have a category yet. I could add it to the statistical category and it'll show up, or I could add a new category. And as you can see, a criteria can be in more than one. It can be in just one. So however it makes sense for you to organize and name your criteria, you have full control over that if it's under the user branch. There is another way that criteria can be added into your Steelray Project Analyzer session, and that's if a user has exported a report and shared it with you. I do have an example of that. So this is one that I exported earlier. The export option is available here from the report menu. It's also available if you right-click on a report, you can export. And this is one that you can export read-only reports. The one that I'm going to demonstrate was not exported read-only. And that's this one right here. So when I go to import this, I have two options. One is to merge, and if I select to merge this report, then any criteria found in the imported report that don't already exist for me will be created. If they do exist, then they will be replaced by the criteria that I am importing if they have the same name. So let's go ahead and do a merge. Here's my imported report, and I'm simply going to collapse the Steelray branch and point out that these three were imported. So they are created under my user branch. These three were not imported. They already existed. They're actually Steelray library criteria checks. So we can go back here. Let's search on that out of sequence. This is one that came over from the import, and that would not change the name, description, or scoring, but if the imported version differed in the grading or prerequisites, the weighting, or justification, then those settings would come from the imported values. That is most of what I want to show you guys, but if there are more questions, if you would like to find out more, please reach out to us. Our email address is support@steelray.com. We love to hear from our customers. I hope this helped. Thanks.